Hello. Please ignore the music out there. They're having like a block party or something. I just got back from dinner with my dad. Before that, I had gone on a 7.5 mile hike with a friend, and so that was really fun. And as we were talking on the hike, I had come to this realization that something that is becoming important to me now that I'm realizing in this breakup is that I really enjoy the experience of meeting someone new and feeling like you've never met anyone like them before, and having that expand your like worldview of what is possible to meet in a human being. And I really enjoy the way that it's almost like you catalog their way of seeing the world and their existence, and you add it to your library, your internal library, and now it's a new perspective that you get to see the world through. And that's like really what it feels like for me every time I meet someone who breaks the blueprint of what I think humans like fit into. And so I think something that's becoming important to me is really prioritizing meeting as many new people as I can, and being able to add other people's worldviews to my sense of reality. And I had come to the conclusion that being changed through love by uncovering new parts of yourself, and like the self-discovery that you can only achieve through being close to another person and like going through things with them, is my favorite thing about living. And like now that I know that I enjoy that so much, it is something that I want to add more of into my life. I'm almost addicted to this feeling of the self-discovery that happens through mirroring in relationships, and I just love it so much. I love the feeling of like of learning something about yourself and really integrating it and feeling the change happen in your body and in who you are. It's just amazing. I think it gives me a sense of energy and joy that I don't really think anything else gives me. I also don't know though if this particular inner expansion may also only be able to come through like loving someone so deeply that you're willing to show up and take accountability for all the parts of you that are needing to be seen, that are needing work in order for you to have a healthier relationship with them. I was gonna go on another hike tomorrow. I had joined a hiking group, but honestly today I hit my head on a rock as I was like climbing, and I was going up, and because of the hat I couldn't see, so I hit my head, and there actually is a small bump, and I've been feeling a little dizzy. But I don't know if that's from hitting my head or just from being dehydrated or exercising more than I have in a really long time. So we'll see how I feel tomorrow, but I'm probably not going to go to this hiking group. But there will be other opportunities, I trust, for me to put myself out there. I just finished adding some stuff to the wall. It's been looking a little bare since the first breakup. Most of the stuff on the walls were hers, and so I've been slowly trying to find pieces to replace what was there. And there were also some paint chips underneath. That one still needs to be covered, but yeah. I'm decently happy with the progress. I've been thinking a lot about today about what it means to really create a life that I want, and it's so strange because I'm realizing now how much stuff that I do out of obligation or just thinking that I should. And that was something that I understood before, but I didn't really take into account the things in my life that I was partaking in that I didn't really want to, down to like a granular level of, in every way that I exist, am I okay? Am I happy with the way that I'm showing up? And I think in large part because when I was in a relationship, I was kind of able to ignore that and put a lot of focus in the relationship. But now that everything is blaringly silent, it's like a lot of things are kind of coming to the surface, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm also a little sad that I couldn't have faced these things during it, but better late than never. It hasn't been that long since I've started creating these videos, but something cool that I have noticed already is that I think it has replaced the space that I used to need from my ex in order to process my thoughts. And I can't really explain it other than it kind of makes my existence feel more real in a way, like in the sense that, hi, I think that when my thoughts only exist inside of me, it's sometimes easy to think that they're not real. I just somehow don't feel like a real person. And one of the things that I have always felt about my ex is that she's the first person who has ever made me feel like a real person. And I think that part of that is just that she was able to reach layers of me that were deeper than anyone else had ever seen or accessed. And so, therefore, those parts of me didn't feel real until they were witnessed by another person. And so I think part of the grieving that I'm going through right now is losing that part of myself, feeling like I'm losing access, and feeling like that part of myself no longer exists because she's not there to mirror it back to me. And so I think what's been really nice about filming my thoughts is that that space has kind of returned, where this is a tangible space where I get to pour my thoughts and feelings into, and therefore it has become real. And I guess that's sort of the whole point of like journaling and all of these sorts of self-reflections, is that physical transformation of the things that only exist inside of you being physically manifested. And something about that is so powerful. But I'm also experiencing a shift in the way that I relate to my own alone time, because I think in the past, when I would waste away my mornings before work, it wouldn't be anything productive. It was actually a lot of doom scrolling, a lot of trying to escape time until the time came that I would need to go to work. But now it kind of feels like time that I really get to be with my thoughts and feelings, and it doesn't really feel like I need a distraction anymore. But I definitely still can just like lay in bed and look at the ceiling for very long periods of time, just like fully digesting my thoughts and feelings. And it is kind of crazy how much time can pass just doing that, but it feels nice that I am being present with my inner world and what's coming up for me instead of using this time to run away from it. With that, I am going to get up now and change, get ready for work, and maybe read a book in the area that I work before work starts. So, I honestly just started this hike like 5 minutes ago, and I'm trying to progress, but I came across a little issue, and it said I need to cross this little stone path, but there's a ton of bees flying right next to it on the right side. They're like all sitting on the floor right there and laying. And so I'm kind of feeling like I maybe shouldn't cross there. Not that I think that they're gonna sting me, but I am a little bit scared, so perhaps I will take a different path. Hello, I just finished the hike. I was able to find another hike that connected, or another trail that connected to the one that I was on, so it did end up being another like 1.5 miles, so that was cool. And now I'm gonna eat some of my dried pineapples and trail mix while I reflect on the hike. I had a moment where I was in the middle of hiking and I started to feel something coming up in my body, and I did some box breathing for a second to reconnect with my body. Where do I begin with this, actually? Where I'm going to start with this is in therapy today. I was telling my therapist how I've been feeling blocked the past couple of days. I've been trying to sit down and write in my journal, and every single time I try, it's like trying to pull teeth every couple sentences. I'll get so distracted and I just like couldn't figure out what was going on. And then she had asked me to describe what I was journaling about to maybe figure out if the topic specifically was triggering this for me. And then there was a moment where she told me it seemed like I had been feeling connected to myself, and then all of a sudden I lost connection with myself. I think that intuitively that is something that's very obvious, like for us internally when it happens. Like, yeah, I was feeling it and then all of a sudden I lost it. But I think for somebody else to notice what was happening for me, it like suddenly made me feel so seen, and all of a sudden I was like bawling and releasing so much grief from my childhood of so many moments where I have felt so unseen. And it just kind of reminded me that when we're in these moments of feeling like we're stuck in rumination and fixating on things, the answer is always to come back to the body and the memories and the emotions that are trapped and unprocessed in the body. But I think the struggle with that is when you don't feel safe with yourself, so then you can't even access what you're feeling. And I think that has, for the most part, been my struggle, where like cognitively I have known that the answer is always in the body, but when I try to connect with myself, it's like my inner child doesn't feel safe with me because I haven't been a nurturing parent to myself, emotionally, practically, all the ways, honestly. And so it's like every single time I go to therapy, it's such a nice feeling because it feels like I actually get to grieve and release things because I do feel so safe with my therapist. But I do think those skills have been transferring over to my regular life, because now on this hike, all of a sudden I started really feeling like a strong feeling of grief come up as I'm just like hiking. And this feeling of grief was actually the feeling of, I had a sudden thought that like I don't want to let myself down, and that had felt really significant to me because in all of the past adult years of my life, I've been in relationships, and my focus has always been to not let my partner down, and all the decisions I would make for my own life would be in order to serve my partner. And so I think to finally have the thought that I don't want to let myself down and feel intuitively that I am talking to my inner child, I am letting her know that I don't want to let her down, and that I am going to show up for her, and I am going to make sure that I don't miss the things that she wants to do in this life. And I'm honestly so fucking sorry that I have spent so many years prioritizing other people.